our screen. All right, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. If someone could give a thumbs up in the chat window if you can hear me. All right. Hi, Jamie. Nice to see you here again. And can you see our screen, our slides? All right. Thanks, Jamie. We're really happy to be back again. It feels like a while. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And I know that talking to the students today, they were excited to be back and also terrified by the amount of work coming up. So this is a great opportunity for us to talk about the end of this semester and preparing for the semester ahead and beyond. So I'm Jessica Nicklin. I'm the Associate Vice President for Student Success. And I am joined here tonight with, there we go, Erin Isaacs, our Dean of Students, Brooke Penders, our Executive Director for the Career Studio, Michael Gomans, the Assistant Director and a first-year advisor in the Center for Student Success, and of course, our most dedicated member of this group, our Student Government Association President, James Brino. So thank you everyone for coming. For anyone who's been to these before, we'll keep everyone on mute just to reduce the amount of background noise. So if you have questions, please put them in the chat box. We've been pretty good at addressing them, and we'll give our emails also so that if you have any follow-up, we're happy to answer that as well. So we're going to kick things off with Michael Gomans, I believe.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. It's great to be here. The next few slides, we're going to spend some time talking about how we're celebrating our successes. We wanted to start by talking about our new Center for Student Success. So we've always had a Center for Student Success on campus. It was originally on our residential side and had 2 to 3 people. This year, we've moved over to a brand new space, which you can see. It just opened a few weeks ago, and we've upped the total of folks to about 19 or 20. We've really gone through a revision of different services we're offering on campus. We've put together what we'll call a one-stop shop model. So your first-year students, in fact, any student on campus, can stop by our office for a variety of reasons, including first-year academic advising, how to register for classes, any miscellaneous paperwork they may have regarding changing their majors, and then we can assist with anything from paying a bill to removing holds from your students' accounts. So what you see on your screens currently are just some of the statistics we wanted to share with you from our successes this fall. In particular, on the bottom, to date, we've raised almost 5,400 flags on students. So it's just a testament to our faculty and how integrated they've been with our students and our center, so that we can be on top of students we're concerned about and make sure that our staff is following up appropriately. With that, we've issued a little bit more than 17,000 kudos. So the opposite of flags, those are opportunities for faculty and staff to reach out, let students know that they're on track in their courses, that they're keeping up the good work, or that they're excelling in what they're teaching. To date, we've also offered almost 4,500 appointments for our center, with the topics we've talked about already. So meeting your first year advisor, paying your bill, completing any required paperwork that a student may need. And across campus, so our office plus all the other offices that are on this new platform, we've had just shy of 8,300 appointments. And that includes offices like financial aid, faculty office hours, and our financial aid office as well. So looking ahead to spring 2020 and some of the items that our center is going to be offering, we're going to be instituting a new opportunity for students who could use some additional academic support. So students who may fall below the ideal GPA that they were hoping for this fall semester, we're going to offer 3 different options for them moving forward. Students with a 1.5 GPA or below are going to be going through academic coaching. That'll be a requirement for those students. That's going to be approximately half-hour meetings every week with their academic advisor from the center, so someone they already have a relationship with that's familiar with their learning style, the classes they're taking, the requirements for their major. Students that fall between a 1.5 and a 1.8 are going to have an option. They can either opt for that one-on-one academic coaching, or we're going to offer academic recovery courses. They're going to specialize in different topics, and students, again, can pick from either of those options. And then students who fall between a 1.8 and a 2.2, I'm sorry, will have the option of either an academic recovery class, or we're going to offer some online modules for our students that want to explore the distant learning option while they're still here on campus. And then just some additional information about the 3 options. Our one-on-one coaching is going to be with a first-year advisor. It's going to focus on in-class strategies for things like note-taking, how to ask questions, how to talk with professors. We're going to spend some time with each of those students talking about how they can balance their time between academic and social life. We'll spend some time reviewing best practices for some study skills, talk about what maybe worked and what didn't work for them in the fall, so we can better prepare them for the spring. And then we're going to work with them on an individual basis to set some goals for how they can improve their spring semester to a point where they're happy with their overall GPA before they leave for the year. The Academic Success Seminar is going to be a weekly class taught by one of our first-year advisors. And those are going to be for students who are interested in things like peer support and looking for different group experiences so they can improve their experience during the spring semester. Activities and class discussions will focus on how we can build some resiliency, how we can change some of the challenges they experience in the fall semester. We'll do some additional work on identifying supports that we think would be important to your students for the campus so they can address those moving forward. And then again, we're going to focus on setting some goals so that we can enhance their experience for the spring semester. And then the last option is the online modules. A lot of this information could be covered in one-on-one meetings, and the class will be disseminated online so that students can spend as much time as they need digesting the information in their own capacity, while offering the opportunity to talk with an instructor and ask questions at an individual basis. So that's what we're looking forward to for the spring. There's much more to come, but we're not ready yet to share all those final details. I'm happy to entertain any questions as we move forward for the rest of the night about our center and what we're offering.
I think this is really great, and I think the 5,000 flags, seems like a lot, and it is, but that means that faculty, largely are doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is if there's a concern about a student, they're not just letting it, sit and not being addressed. So the fact that advisors are finding out about it, being able to reach out to our students is, really impactful. But I think what speaks more is the 17,000 kudos, so positive feedback coming from faculty and advisors and members of the community is really great. So we're excited to see that. All right, so we'll transition for now from the Center for Student Success to the Career Studio.
Hi, everybody. This is Brooke Penders. I'm the Executive Director of Career and Professional Development, and this is kind of perfectly placed in that we work very closely with the Center for Student Success, and especially for first-year students. We are trying to help those students get used to the idea of using the Career Studio as a resource for robust and dynamic programming to begin career exploration, planning, and then execution. So in this first year, we've been working closely with all of the first-year advisors, and they've been making some assignments. The basic assignment, the one that we're most excited about is getting them to have a working draft of their resume by the end of the first semester. You'd be surprised by how many seniors we sometimes have rolling in who had yet to take that step. So we know that this collaboration with the Center for Student Success is going to put our students on a much better track to be prepared for opportunities that might present themselves to help them do some career planning. That could mean anything from a leadership position with an on-campus club, an externship, a group project that we might do in collaboration with a local employer, an internship, an externship, a clinical, you name it. The more those students have that resource available to them and they're constantly thinking about how to update it through their time here, the better off they are to take advantage of the many opportunities we create in conjunction with our strategic partners in industry, both locally, regionally, and nationally. So to make it a little more fun than just saying, hey, go do your resume, we try and offer some really great programming in the studio, which is based in the Gengris Student Union. We will do some resume labs, of course, as a base, but we also want to make sure that people are taking advantage of the many online resources that are available now that employers are leveraging. LinkedIn, Merit, and a variety of others are places we want students to begin building an online profile nearly immediately. So we have our staff as well as alumni who are in industry to come in and talk about the importance of a strong and honest LinkedIn profile. We like to bring employers in to talk about jobs that might be of interest to them and also what career trajectories they might not have thought about based on where industry might be heading 5-10 years down the road, because we know that many of our students will have jobs that don't exist yet. So how do we get them prepared for thinking about what that might look like? And then we really like to engage our very active alumni network and bring them in for simple things like networking. It's surprising how many students don't feel comfortable with it, don't understand it. And so when they can practice with a group of dedicated alums who have been there themselves, it's a really great opportunity to start exposing them to the importance of being able to talk about what you're trying to do, why you're majoring in what you're majoring, and what you hope to see yourself doing in the future. So if we can help them practice that on campus, we're better prepared to send them out to career fairs, both on campus, in the Hartford region, and in other places too. So we'd like to help them get their feet wet in the studio so that we can send them out with some confidence and some real networking, career building skills. So you will see and hear a lot about the programs that are coming up in the second semester, and we'll be working closely with first year advisors, the Office of Marketing Communications, and faculty and staff to make sure that students know about all of those opportunities that are presenting themselves. Next slide, please.
So Brooke,
Yeah.
students who maybe never had a formal job and only babysat or lifeguarded,
It's
what
okay.
do you say for that?
So some students will walk in with absolutely nothing. I need a resume. And we have a template that we help them fill out. And they will often say to us that I've only been a babysitter, I've only been a lifeguard.
Mhm.
And we say, those are still jobs that you had where you had to show up, demonstrate skills, you got paid for it. And if you didn't do what you said you were going to do, you wouldn't have had that job. So it at least shows some basic employability skills, and you can speak to having worked with others, having provided customer service, having been accountable. So we never want people to dismiss those opportunities. Hopefully their on-campus experiences and internships and other things can help to move those down the list, or we can find some more skills to highlight related to their major, related to their skills and interests, and sometimes related to opportunities that just present themselves where a student says, I never really knew about that. I think I might explore that as a potential career track. So we can work with students who have no resume, to students who just want to tweak their resume a bit, maybe like make it look a little bit more professional. And we do that with staff and alumni all the time. One thing we started instituting in the Career Studio are events with employers where they can come in and kind of take over the studio for a day and talk about what it's like to work there. So that often involves an alum, it often involves recruiters, and people who can kind of give you the real skinny on what it's like to work at this place. I featured the FBI event because it's one of our most highly attended events, and I have to be really careful the pictures I take here because FBI agents don't like other picture taken. So that's why that poster is kind of held where it is. So they recruit on campus a lot. So I think people are surprised. They're like, well, I'm not a criminal justice major. I can't be an FBI agent. Oh, absolutely you can. There's barely a major on campus that can't be recruited by the FBI. And so it's really great to come in and hear from them, hear about the people who are in IT, cybersecurity, psychology, you name it. There are a lot of different ways in which you can end up with a job at the FBI, and they are constantly hiring. So they come every year, but now we also have relationships with the Connecticut Society of CPAs. CPA firms are growing exponentially, and it used to be that 2/3 of the people in a CPA firm were CPAs, and another third was support. That's actually flipped. CPA firms are now looking for more people with IT degrees, econ degrees, and language skills. So I don't think, most people assume, well, I'm not going to go and look for a job in a CPA firm if I'm not an accountant. Now you might want to reconsider that. So we try and pose opportunities in a different light to make sure that students who kind of might have dismissed something might come in and take a look, practice their networking skills, learn a little more. And so having employers and big groups, networks like associations and societies come on campus really helps open our students' eyes. So this is one example of the kinds of events that we will be doing on campus in the spring. So I encourage everybody on the line to talk to your students about taking advantage of all the programming that should be coming out in the next few weeks, both in the studio, around campus, and actually quite a few events actually in the greater Hartford area where you can meet and network with professionals up close and personal.
So we do have a question. Hours for Center for Student Success and Career Studio, especially to meet the needs of the HART students.
Yes, I can speak to, if you don't mind. I will talk to this. We have heard about this, and the one reason we call it the Career Studio is because it's a place where you can go and practice your craft and work with others in collaboration, and we felt that was a bit of a nod to our art students and our HART students, who maybe in the past didn't feel included in the work and felt as though if you weren't a Barney student or a business student, the career office wasn't for you. Absolutely not true. But we have recognized, even our evening courses that we held, yeah, if you're in rehearsals for a production, you can't get over here even if you want to. So we are talking with staff over there about how we might be able to offer some online resources, take some of our career sessions over to the HPAC. So these are things that we're actively discussing to make sure that we are where our students are, because that's where they need to be at that point. So we're very flexible with our programming, and we're trying to be more creative to meet our students' needs.
In regards to the Center for Student Success, we have been hosting evening hours throughout the semester on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Typically, the office closes at 4:30, but on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we have a few staff that will stay from 4:30 to 6 p.m. And we've been tracking that the foot traffic and what students are coming in for, and we found some success. So I do anticipate we're going to keep some extended hours into the spring semester as well. Something we're also talking about with the staff is being more mobile and coming to our students. So while we were getting off the ground this fall and wanting to make sure everything was set up appropriately, we anticipate going into the spring semester having a little bit more flexibility. So we are still engaging in conversations about how we can meet students in different locations on campus, whether that be the library or the Handout Performing Arts Center, or simply just in the hallway between classes. We are more than happy to meet them where they need to be met, and we look forward to enhancing what we're offering in the spring.
All right, Dean Isaacs,
Hey, how's it going?
campus revitalization.
Good evening, everybody. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, our campus revitalization project that we have going on here. So when I started, I've been here for about a year in the Dean of Students role. And so when I started, one of the first things I did was kind of walk the campus. I wanted to get a sense of the students, faculty, staff, and kind of meet people and see, where education was happening, and then, more importantly, where socialization and where students were connecting. So I had a chance to walk through all of our residential facilities, some of our common spaces, and then to look at some survey data and a study that was done, really hearing from students, particularly first and second year students, on what they were experiencing on campus. And so with my walkthrough and the data that we collected through the survey, we ended up coming up with the Student Housing Improvement Plan. We really wanted to focus on the undergraduate residents, the residential experience and the apartments and the residence halls. And we came up with 3 overarching themes that we really wanted to target, to improve the experience. So elevate the quality of the undergraduate experience by providing enriched educational opportunities and academic support. So being in the Dean of Students role, I'm part of the other wing of the Division of Student Success. So we're really tied to the Academic Support Center. Advisors are able to see what's happening on the rest side through our software called Impact. So we're making more of an explicit connection with the academic side of the house. The second bullet, we wanted to ensure residential life and the facilities meet this new culture of excellence. Students, families, parents have a high expectation of when they're going to college and going to the university in terms of services and the feel of the facilities. And so, that was one of the things that stood out to me as I walked the campus, was that some areas were a little dated and we needed some love. So I was able to get some funds that we're going to be investing over the next 3 years to just improve kind of the feel and creating spaces where we can really build community and provide spaces for students to be successful. And the last thing, space is great. You can have a beautiful space, but if the programming really isn't engaging or designed to attract students, to get them out of their room, I think, with this generation of students coming in, what we're seeing is, more students want the single. They want to be isolated, but they're still socializing in different ways, using technology. They're connecting that way. But we realize there is a mix of students that come to our campus, and not every single student, connects that way. And so we still need to provide some of those traditional opportunities, the movie nights, you know, the cornhole tournaments and getting things going. So really, we wanted to breathe some new life into our project. So kind of the four themes, the key areas I call them that came out were common spaces, communication, branding, and wayfinding. Really communicating, you know, what are our standards? You know, how do we want people to get along? You know, how do we want people to operate in our spaces? It's just signage, plain signage, how to navigate the campus. You know, how do we find our, you know, our way through, you know, some of the res halls. Technology and safety, students are expecting a high level of technology and connectivity. When they walk into a space, you know, they might not necessarily want to plug in. They might want to just log in, you know, via Bluetooth and connect. So how are we utilizing technology in the res halls to provide areas where students can study? They can work on projects together. And then the last thing we really wanted to focus on was we have a beautiful campus, we have a sprawling campus, but we need more opportunities for students to really engage in recreation, an outdoor community building. So that's really what has been guiding a lot of our campus revitalization projects. And so the first one I'm going to really target is right outside of C Complex. So in our first year residence halls. So this was a project that we kicked off, I would say late August. Originally, what you'll see outside of Poe was just a lawn. It was kind of barren. There was a couple of old trees. And we realized that where this was located was directly across from the commons. So wherever there's food, you're always going to find students. They're naturally going to gather there. So we wanted to make an explicit connection between what was happening in the commons and really carry that over into C Complex. So we came up with this design for a courtyard. On the draft up there that you'll see, there's a fire pit. So it was actually an old like Home Depot bought fire pit with some Adirondack chairs that was originally there. That had some mixed use. Students didn't realize that it was propane. They tried to burn regular wood on it. So we had a few issues there. So we wanted to make, I didn't want to lose the fire pit. I thought that it was a natural, you know, gathering space. It's, you know, you've gone camping, it's pretty much your TV. It's where people kind of gather and have built community around. So we wanted to do something to pay tribute to that. So we ended up putting in this 5,000 square foot renovation to this outdoor space, which is going to include an outdoor ping pong area, seating. We've continued the Adirondack chairs. We've created a separate lawn, and we'll have a storage shed for cornhole, ladder ball. Again, students can walk right up. They'll be able to take this stuff out and just have fun. We really wanted to have a fun experience, you know, particularly as you're in your first year. That new parking lot is important because now we can actually block that area off to host food trucks, different events. We can host a carnival. We really wanted to create kind of a multi-use space. And so this fire pit is going to be coming online right during finals. You know, I've been to the West Hartford Town and zoning to get this approved to push through. So they're working really hard. I really want to make sure that students see it before they leave. And then when we come back in the spring, we're going to have a really nice outdoor space to engage students and the rest of the community. And so moving on to, again, going into the complexes by design are really difficult to build community. Just the way they're architecturally designed, they're pretty segmented. And so what we found during our tour were these large spaces that were in the basements right next to the laundry rooms. And so they were just being used for storage. And so right now it's about 8,000 square feet if you do all the complexes and the hallways along with the lobbies that we essentially have gone in and renovated. You know, one of the biggest complaints that we heard from students was just there's no place to hang out. There's no place to gather. There's no place to do a movie night, to shoot pool, play ping pong, and just lounge. Just kind of, our students work really hard. They study really hard. They also want to play hard. So we need to provide spaces for them to do that. And so what we did was in the lobbies, we put new carpeting in. Part of that wayfinding and branding and communication were new TVs, just saying what's happening on campus. Big complaint from students, we never know what's going on. Well, students are typically on their phones walking through campus. So if we can capture them, you know, with a bright screen, that's just saying, hey, you know, here's what's happening. Here's what's going on for tonight. You know, we've got a lot of great feedback. Also, you know, with the bright sign boxes that are on the TVs, we're able to communicate what's happening in those specific dorms and in those communities. So we're able to do some targeted programming with it. So when you enter the lobbies now, in each complex, there are dedicated 24 access study rooms. We're coming up on finals. Students are going to be cramming to get into the library. Space is limited. So we wanted to provide some really comfortable spaces for students to go in and study for large programming spaces. And so what you'll see up there in the draft is kind of an outline of what these spaces are becoming to, what they're going to look like. So large pool tables, couches. We have actually an e-gaming suite and a regular classic kind of game suite. So you're talking billiards, foosball, ping pong, and then we've put in Xbox One, Roku's, Netflix on giant 75-inch screen TVs for students to just, again, come in, relax, hang out. And then we put in 2 collaboration spaces with a dock. So students can come in and work on projects. So if they have an engineering report that's due, or they're working on a project and they need a space to kind of escape, we have those now in the basements, A through D. And then so going forward, we went into the laundry rooms and just updated them. Again, providing spaces for students. They do a lot of laundry. Sometimes it's not always the right way, but they're doing it, so we're happy. Things are getting cleaned. But there, again, it's an opportunity for them to connect just through the hallways and corridors, putting our branding up, make them feel like, you know, this is their space, this is their home away from home. All new signage is going to be going in. So if you were moving your son or daughter in and had to go through the basements, a little confusing without signs with the old dated signs. So we've updated those so you can find your way through. For parents, this is really important. I put about $250,000 worth of cameras throughout all the complexes and across campus. We really want to make sure we have a safe campus. We know what's happening. We know what's going on. We can monitor students. So that was really important to this project, was making sure that, you know, not only we're providing engaging spaces, but really safe spaces for students to hang out. And so that's some of the projects that we have going on. This is phase 1 of a 3-year project. So we'll be looking at phase 2 this spring, carrying on to the 2nd year, looking at the village apartments, Park River, and what kind of enhancements we can make. And then phase 3, we're looking to target the river, but make sure that it's more accessible, clean it up. It's a wonderful feature of this campus that we really want to highlight as a space for students and faculty and staff to kind of congregate and gather. And so the last thing I really want to talk about to look forward into the spring is our new Office of Student Engagement and Inclusion. So prior to me coming on board, we had a lot of our engagement was separated, was siloed. So we had a separate Greek life, we had separate student activities, SGA, and so they all worked together, but there wasn't anything formalized. And so we really, with this new office, we wanted to create a hub similar to what's happening on the academic side with our first-year advising. We created this one-stop shop for advising and support. So students aren't getting lost on campus trying to figure out where offices are. There's one space for them. And so we're really excited about this new office coming online. I renovated the suite right in the Younger Student Union. So if you remember coming in on a tour, you'll have the Career Service Office, Hawk Lounge, and to your left down that corridor, you will now have the new Office of Engagement and Inclusion, which will connect to our Center for Student Success. And so really the main floor of GSU has now become the central point for students to feel connected, to really develop a sense of belonging on campus. And so it'll house over 100 clubs and organizations, commuter services, a lot of our diversity, equity and inclusion initiatives, Greek life, some of your traditional things that you'll see on campus, along with volunteer and service opportunities. So it's a hub that we've created, and it's a focal point, kind of on the main drag in GSU, so students and families can really see the vibrant life that's happening on our campus. And so we'll be having an open house coming in January, so students will be able to come by and pop in and see what's going on. Also, we'll be holding an open house for the res projects on December 16th. So really going to be able to show these off to the campus, you know, build some true excitement. So I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully I'll be able to give some more updates on phase 2 and phase 3 in the future.
Thank you. Yeah, we're looking to do a lot. You know, when you think of this semester, as Michael said, the students are in the US 190 class. They see their advisor once a week. You know, it's really hands-on, and we want to continue that hands-on support, but we also want to be able to scaffold them so that they're starting to kind of take charge of their own college experience. So we're still going to be there for them. You know, in partnership with all of our offices, we're going to be putting on tons of events to help specifically second semester first-year students and sophomores as well. You know, meet their various needs. So, you know, we're even just now thinking about doing a welcome back celebration, get everybody together. We're going to do a mini club fair, right, James? in the spring.
We are doing, we're doing actually a full scale.
Oh, we are doing a full
Yes.
scale. Okay, it started as mini and now
yes.
it's been scaled up.
Yes, so we are hosting a spring club fair. It is February 5th from 5 to 7 p.m. in the volleyball gym at the Sports Center, which is formerly the intramural gym. We're going to have over 60 clubs. We have a group of nonprofit organizations coming in if your students are interested in serving the Hartford community. And there's a basketball game, a women's basketball game, right after the club fair at 7 p.m. And there's going to be door prizes. We're giving away a TV. We're going to give out free popcorn and a bunch of drawing items for halftime as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, we talked about this in one of my classes today. If, and we've talked about this in other parent hours, if your student was reluctant to join a club because they didn't want to take on too much, the club fair will be a great opportunity for them to see what's out there and get connected. And I think there's this fear sometimes that, oh, well, everybody's already joined something. What about me? It's definitely not too late. It's also not too late to join honors, take honors courses. We talked a little bit about what to do for students in academic distress, but there's a lot of opportunity to get connected with research or internships or whatever students might want, honors courses to get that going. If they're doing really well. Tonight in my class, I asked the students to reflect on what's different between high school and now, or what are you surprised? What would you tell your high school self? And it was actually surprising, despite how stressed they feel, how positive they were about how, well, it's really not that hard when you plan appropriately. And, it's not at all like I thought. And it was really great to hear them kind of patting themselves on the back a little bit and saying like, I'm doing this. And I think it is a really great time to kind of celebrate that. Tell them to go to midnight breakfast. Would you want to tell them about that?
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, so midnight breakfast is a great tradition we have on campus. And it's usually right before finals start, and it's a time where faculty and staff come and they serve us students breakfast, and it's really, really cool. So this year it's on Sunday, December 15th from 9:30 to 11:30, and there's a line outside Commons in the freezing cold every single year for people to get their favorite faculty or staff member or administrator to make them an omelet. So it is really a great opportunity. So your first year students will most likely see a line outside of their windows and tell them it's a great opportunity. It's something that I've done almost every single semester of my college career, and I've been here this is my 4th year, so I'm a senior, and I've done it almost every semester, and it is great. It's p.m., 9:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. So that's why it's midnight breakfast.
It's not really midnight for old people like us who wouldn't be able to make it until 2 in the morning.
Well, I'll be there making omelets, so.
We're trying to think of other end of semester sort of announcements and things.
So the library is open 24 hours during finals week. So students, if they're early birds, they can go in at 3 or 4 a.m. I guess and study. But so it is open 24 hours after 1:30 a.m. They start checking IDs just to make sure everything is safe in the building. And then students can be in until a final the next day, anything like that. And that goes from the 11th to the 21st of December.
And you're going to have some studying in the new complex.
Yeah, the
areas.
study rooms are already open and available, so students are able to pop in and study. We'll talk more about some of the program spaces. We might turn those over to study rooms just because the demand is so high. So really flexible, and based on student needs.
We're going to do some evening hours in the Center for Student Success as well. I know the library gets packed, so we just want to provide other options for students to get together, work on projects, study, whatever it is they need to do. We'll give you guys a couple minutes to decide if you have any questions. Oh, there we go. No, I think that's a great suggestion, Kevin and Alyssa. Thank you. And along those same lines, we're working with CAPS to try to get some evening hours in, and this is definitely something that's on our priority list.
So don't quote me on this, but I think the bill actually comes out on December 4th.
So it's not due.
Yeah,
It's not due on the 1st.
Yeah, I do believe the first spring bill won't come out until, James explained, the 4th or the 5th. And then our office is available that day, the next day, the 6th. We're always here. Tell your students they can always stop by in person if they prefer to talk with someone on a one-to-one basis, or if you would like to call in at any time. Again, we're there from 8:30 to 4:30, always happy to answer any calls. And then we're going to make sure we advertise to the students as well those late hours and how we can be accessible, especially about billing for the spring semester. We know it's an important topic, and students and families would feel more comfortable if they had some answers and resolutions before the end of the term, and we want to make sure that we put ourselves in a position to provide those answers for everyone.
And we'll be open regular business hours with the exception of the week between Christmas and New Year's, I believe. But while the students are hopefully home resting, we'll still have regular office hours, so if you need to call. And if you find yourself having sticky conversations over the break and you feel like you need a partner, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Things like, I want to change my major, I don't know what to do, or I didn't do as well as I wanted to, or I don't want to go back, or anything you could think of. We're more than happy to partner with you and your family to help navigate some of that. So definitely don't hesitate to reach out. We're just reading your questions. Yeah, talk. Sure.
We're trying to read through all these questions. So I'm happy about the cameras in the building. What about installing key entry mechanisms for the bathrooms? Who would I direct that to? I do not expect anyone to walk through. So for all of our safety and security, we go through our chief of police on campus, Chief Kozlowskis. And what he'll do is do an evaluation like we do with all of our buildings on a security assessment in terms of what we need in locking mechanisms. So anytime we do a new building or project, we try to update our locks so that they're remote entry. We have not looked at this for the bathrooms. Do you know what bathrooms in particular you're speaking of? What res hall or area? That would be helpful in knowing. I can definitely relay that message on to Chief, and we can take a look at that if there's a particular concern going on there. And also, in our complexes, we also have multiple layers of security that we have. So we have the remote key entry coming in the building and onto the floors with the key access. And so we have not gotten rid of that. Again, installing the camera so we can monitor what's going on. But I'll definitely relay this on to Chief and see what his thoughts are on the bathrooms.
I can briefly speak on the question about dining during winter break. So just looking back at last year's dining services, they had Chamber Student Union Cafe open from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. for breakfast, and then lunch from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. And then the Hawk's Nest was open for dinner from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. This doesn't really help with your question about HPAC, but I assume that they have dining options available in HPAC if there are classes taking place in rehearsals.
I'll also pass that feedback on because that came up earlier today as well, about making sure there are food options, and if there are, that's properly communicated. So I was talking with marketing communication and our partners at Aramark today about that. So that's a really good point. Thank you.
And as for prop doors are one of those things on college campuses. And unfortunately, with students, we talk to them all the time about the dangers of holding doors open or propping doors. So we did a big door campaign earlier this semester. We put leaflets out. We talked to students. I've asked Res Life to have RAs do more rounds, walking around, making sure doors aren't propped, or that students understand, not letting people they don't know into the building. So it's a constant conversation that we're having with students regarding, keeping their area safe and making sure they know who's in the rest halls.
Jamie, are you referring to the dining issue? Okay. Yep, I'll definitely take all this feedback back to all the. We don't have anybody from dining specifically in the room, but we can definitely pass this on. Thank you.
So we actually have a meeting coming up to talk about.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was in my email box today. Talk about what we're doing for winter term and over break for dining services. Typically what we've done is we usually work with, we'll know ahead of time of students who are staying on and work something out with them. Most of the time it's usually athletes just because of their schedules and international students who may be staying over. So we usually work something out. But I have that meeting coming up and would happily get the information to Jess to get back to you, on what is happening for winter term in food.
And with that, all the things you're bringing up tonight are great. And just because we're, coming to the end of our parent hours, don't stop that feedback, for coming in. You can let Dean Isaacs know or email Dean Isaacs or myself, and, we can bring the feedback to, whoever, depending on what we're talking about. And we tell the students the same thing. We don't know what it is necessarily that they need or that you're thinking unless, you bring it to our attention. So we do really appreciate it, and we get a ton out of these sessions. James, what are the regular hours for comments?
I believe they open at 7 and close at 9.
Yep.
7. And just to speak on some of the other dining options on campus, Moe's is open until 7 p.m. Subway is open until 1:30 a.m. as well as the Village Market is open until 1:30 a.m.
Give you another minute or so, and then you're going to get 15 minutes back. On tonight. Is it Monday Night Football?
Seattle, Minnesota, right now.
America's Got Talent or something?
Third season of The Crown.
No. Yeah, no, good feedback. And we appreciate the feedback too about extended hours or making accommodations in the Center for Student Success and Career Studio to meet the needs of specifically the HART students and students with rigid during the day schedules. Because we didn't have a lot of traffic in the evening hours this semester, right? But students might not know either.
Yeah, I would say we safely had more traffic during our regular business hours. Definitely during breaks between classes, lunchtime. I mean, we're so strategically located in the new space in GSU that it's simple for a student to come by, get something to eat for lunch, stop in, see a club and activity, an organization, and come right to our offices, see their advisor, ask questions about their bill. So we see most of our foot traffic there, but I think it was definitely gaining in popularity towards the end of the semester, in particular around registration. I know some students really appreciated being able to come by the office until 6:30 some nights. Because of class schedules or rehearsals or practices or just working a job and still get the same service and answers that their classmates got at 9 in the morning. So like I mentioned earlier, I don't think we're going to eliminate that. I think it's at the very least going to stay at 2 nights a week, and we'll work on expanding our options for how else we can meet students where they are in the spring semester.
And all your comments regarding dining, we'll get back to dining.
Yeah.
Our contractor is with the Airmark, so make sure that they understand, some of these issues that you're bringing up and see what we can do.
All right, well, thank you so much for attending and, seeing our repeaters, Jamie, Janet, Kevin, and Alyssa, and others that came to all 7, 8 sessions. We really appreciate it, and seeing I'm using my own personal laptop to scroll through. Seeing all the people that came back time and time again, and we really appreciate it. And again, ideas, needs, anything, feel free to reach out. That's what we're here for. So thank you so much, and happy holidays, and we'll hopefully talk to you soon.